All right, so now that we have completed our concerns as it relates to next week's schedule for the EOC, we are going to, and we know our vocabulary quiz, which will be Friday, we're going to go ahead and introduce major number 3. All right. There are 2 options for major number 3. Option number 1 is a short story narrative on social criticism, and option number 2 is a social criticism project, okay? All right, let's take a look at option number 1, the short story. Now, the reason that we gave you the exemplars of Anton Chekhov, who did the In Upheaval and Charles Dickens' Hard Times, is so that you could look at the mastery in which master writers were able to construct exposition, setting, situation, point of view, all of the ingredients for a regular short story, but yet still have a point where they're trying to poke at, suggest, hint at, or outright implore certain things in the society be addressed, okay? And that is going to be your task. So you're going to write a short story narrative if you choose option number 1, in which you are exposing an ill in our society. Now, the ill should be a social issue that you desire to see changed or eradicated. Eradicated meaning completely destroyed. Okay. On your short story, in addition to all of the basics that we usually have, I want to be clear that it's going to be due on turnitin.com, not Canvas. Turnitin.com. It's going to be due for those who do not have accommodations Sunday night by midnight, April 28th. That's a week from Sunday. Those students that do have accommodations for extended time, yours will be due Tuesday by midnight, April 30th. The word count is 1,000 to 1,500 words. You have to have your standard MLA heading, that's your No Teacher Can Dance, name, class, name, teachers, your name, teacher's name, course, and date. Then your title, and under your title, we want you to have a goal statement. A goal statement is simply identifying in advance kind of what issue are you going at in your short story so we can understand the subtleties in your writing. Because you may not just say it outright, you may just set up a circumstance, a situation that speaks to that ill. I'm going to give you an example. Here you go. So, for example, Richard Wright, when he wrote Native Son, this is a statement that he made. He said, I wrote Native Son to show what manner of men and women our society of the majority breeds. And my aim was to depict a character in terms of the living issues and texture of daily consciousness. So he's kind of telling you what was his motive, okay? That's what we mean by a goal statement. What is the ill that you're addressing in your short story? All right. Also, your other MLA standards of a heading, double-spaced, Times New Roman size 12 font. In the upper right-hand corner, you having your page number, you know, your last name and the page number, having that go page by page by page. Title, goal statement. The rubric is attached here. Let's take a look at the rubric, work our way through this, and along the way, I want to also explain and offer you some exemplars. All right, so here's the breakdown over here with percentage. This is the range we're working from, and the trait, and what that means. So for the first one, exposition and character development. The student will establish a situation, point of view, introduces a narrator, and, of course, the development of characters. That's your exposition. That's a big deal. That's 25%. Notice in Hard Times by Charles Dickens how he took so much time with each character and remember, exaggerated their qualities to get across to you how they are being perceived, or how he is seeing they're being perceived by society. So remember, let's go back to it. Let's take a look. Remember the character Bitzer. Bitzer's just a little boy fiddling around, fidgeting at his desk, and he takes time to describe what Bitzer looks like. Let me see. He talks about the window coming in from the sun, and then it says, but whereas the girl was so dark-eyed and dark-haired that she seemed to receive a deeper and more lustrous color from the sun when it shone upon her, the boy was so light-eyed and light-haired that the self-same rays appeared to draw out of him what little color he ever possessed. His cold eyes would hardly have been eyes, but for the short ends of lashes, which by bringing them into immediate contrast with something paler than themselves expressed their form. His short cropped hair might have been a mere continuation of the sandy freckles on the forehead and face. His skin was so unwholesomely deficient, vocabulary word, his skin was so unwholesomely deficient in the natural tinge that he looked as though if he were cut, he would bleed white. Not even red, but he's so pale, right, that he doesn't even look as though the red that he has any color in him, even in his blood. So that's he's setting up for us how Bitzer looks and giving us that physical description. Remember also, let's go back to Mr. Gradgrind, remember, who is the founder of the school. Remember, all the time he takes all of this paragraph. I'm not going to read it all, but remember, he talks about his forehead, how big it is, like a wall, and how his eyes sit back in his head like caves, right? Overshadowed by the enormity of the wall of his forehead. His voice, right? Inflexible, dry, dictatorial. He has an obstinate carriage, a square coat, square legs, square shoulders. Like everything about him is like, matter of fact, right? And that's his whole thing, right? Facts. Then he states, Dickens says, his very necktie trained to take him by the throat with an unaccommodating grasp, like a stubborn fact as it was, all helped the emphasis. All right, so he took all of that paragraph simply to really give you a look at this Mr. Gradgrind. Okay? All right, so that's what we're talking about when we say exposition. You're talking about developing your characters, who's talking, what's the situation, where are they? That's a big chunk of the grade. That's 25%. Next, style, 20%. Student writing exhibits a command of language using precise language. You guys are 12th grade seniors on your way out the door to higher education and all of the other endeavors in life. You must be able to use your words. So precise vocabulary means that you're able to use the correct word to convey the correct meaning, to give the correct picture. Also vivid verbs, right? As opposed to, Ms. Gibson gave this great example earlier, as opposed to just saying he walked, he hobbled, he limped, he labored. All of those could be different ways you could express a person walking that gives the reader more of a reason to buy in, because those vivid verbs, they create interest. They spark the mind, right? So vivid verbs, adjectives, remember, square shoulders, square legs, square this, square that, large forehead, those are your adjectives. All of those really help enhance interest, adverbs and adjectives. Word choice uses words and phrases and details to convey a picture of the events. So word choice, this is one of the masteries in this writing, is how the word choice is used. I love this last statement. Remember, the first chapter was only one page. But I love the last paragraph because it gives you a picture of the school children, but it also keeps pounding you over the idea that the idea of the education then was they wanted to reproduce children after facts, but almost use education like an industrial factory, right? So look at what it says to them. Other than, remember earlier it called the children by numbers. Girl 21, boy 13. It says here, the speaker and the schoolmaster and the third grown person present all back a little and swept with their eyes the inclined plane of little vessels. Vessels, that's how they refer to the children. And they're arranged in order, you know, they're in their seats just right. Boys on one side, girls on one side. The little vessels then and there arranged in order, ready to have imperial, that's an adjective that speaks to rulership, imperial gallons of facts poured into them until they were full to the brim, right? That's imagery. It's like metaphors. It's beautiful. Okay. Next, additionally, the syntax is structured to convey clear meaning. In other words, proper sentence structure. Subject, predicate, subject, verb, right? Object, prepositional phrases, adverbial phrases if so. But having your sentences structured in a way where they can be understood and not throw you off. Let's take a look at one. Let's go back to chapter 2. I'm trying to give examples and exemplars as you go because the magic is all in the writing, which you have right on canvas. You can go back into these stories and look at them yourself. Look at this. They are describing Thomas Gradgrind, a man who proceeds upon the principle that 2 and 2 are 4. Right, and nothing over, and who is not to be talked into allowing for anything over. Boom. We can understand that, right? He's a man that's a matter of fact. You can't get him with fantasy and romance and all of these kind of things. He's like, what is the facts of this? Remember how they took the kids through, would you paper a wall with horses? Remember we talked about that? And he's like, no, you must never do that. Because do you ever see real horses running on a wall? Right? No. So you wouldn't do it with wallpaper, right? That was kind of the mentality. Remember, you're talking about the 1800s. Okay? All right. Syntax. That's one of your vocabulary words. Remember, that's your sentence structure. The order of words in a sentence to convey clear meaning. All right, that's 20%. Organization. There has to be a flow to the story. One thing that I wish I had the idea to do that I think I would do at another time is to, just like we do our argumentative essays, I never thought of outlining a short story or a narrative. But if you could develop an outline for a short story, that would allow you to break it up into chunks. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So when you outline something, there's a chunk. Big bite. Get that done. Next bite. Next bite. This is what I mean by organization. Let's go back and let's look at Dickens again. Now, he's been drilling us for the whole time about facts and how the little kids are like pitchers that should be filled up, right, with facts. They're vessels, they're pitchers. And there's this back and forth with Sissy Jupe, who's this young, fanciful little girl who is probably just kind of beginning her education. Remember, he corrected her about her name. Then he didn't want her to talk about that her father broke horses. No, we will not talk about that here. Because if you read the background of the story, her father worked in the circus, and he trained horses, and he did things like that. So he corrected her, no, your name, you will be called Cecilia. We will not be using nicknames like Sissy, and also breaking horses. So he takes it all the way down and then asks her, what is a horse? And if you were outlining this, there's this conversation about her whole background, and then him asking her what a horse is, and then he's asked her to define it. She can't. Now, she's a little girl that grew up around horses. Her dad worked for the circus, so you would think she would know what it is, but the point that he's trying to make is that a lot of people know what something is, but they couldn't tell you what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like I could name all kind of stuff. Well, exactly what is that though? Like dictionary definition, facts. So if you were outlining this, oh, that's a nice conversation. Then I'm going to bring in one of the students who can define exactly what a horse is. That's where you get the whole thing about Bitzer. But before he lets Bitzer talk, he's got to break down this whole thing about the light coming into class. It's shining on Sissy and then also shining on him. And then he finally lets Bitzer talk. And when Bitzer talks, notice the organization. It's brilliant. When he talks, Bitzer, said Thomas Gradgrind, your definition of a horse. Austin, quadruped, graminivorous, 40 teeth, namely 24 grinders, 4-eyed teeth, and 12 incisive. Sheds coat in the spring. In marshy country, sheds hoofs too. Hoofs hard, but requiring to be shod with iron. Age known by marks in mouth. Thus and much more, Bitzer. Right? Now, girl number 20, said Mr. Gradgrind, you know what a horse is. Facts, right? Hard to argue. Bitzer broke it down. This kind of thing, though, if you outlined it, then, like in your story, if you wanted to explain something, you put that in your outline, then you go research it. Then you break it down, just like he did. Like, I didn't know what a horse really was until I read this. I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know all those things. Did you know that they shed their coat in the spring? I didn't. I thought they got a haircut. I just saw, I live by, every day I go by a yard that has a big horse in it. And I'm like, man, sometimes it's looking all kind of homely, like it's not necessarily being taken care of well. But it'd be out there eating and looking raggedy. But the other day I looked and everything looked crisp and clean. So he might have shed, but I thought he just got a haircut. Like that. It could have either one, I don't know. But now I'm considering it is the spring. Maybe he just shed all that excess. I don't know, right? So, Bitzer, I love it. Bitzer's quick dialogue. And then notice, and we're going back here to the rubric, the conclusion follows from the experience, creates a smooth progression of events. But I also want to jump over here to craft, because this is dialogue, this is description, imagery, right? Time manipulation. Watch how he manipulates the time. So, girl number 20, you know what a horse is. She curtsied again and would have blushed deeper. If she could have blushed deeper, then she had blushed all this time. Bitzer, after rapidly blinking at Thomas Gradgrind with both eyes at once, and so catching the light upon his quivering ends of lashes that they looked like the antenna of busy insects, put his knuckles to his freckled forehead and sat down again. So he keeps you right there in the moment. Even after the dialogue, he's telling you this is what she did, this is what he did, right? It's very good. It's good description, it's good imagery so that you can read it like you would watch a TV show or a movie, right? And that's craft. Narrative techniques such as dialogue, description, reflection, pacing, plot to develop experiences, events, or characters. That's 15%. Organization is 25%. All right, it has to flow, guys. So again, if you need to write an outline, and you could benefit from writing an outline if you do a short story, do one. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Does everybody understand this is a major that he's explaining? Okay, I just want to make sure. And this is his project, so he's explaining it very well.
And I won't be here to answer questions. So make sure you paying good and close attention. Okay. All right, let's go back to organization real quick, though. One last point about conclusion. The conclusion follows from the narrated experiences or events. We didn't know what was happening. All we knew is when we started reading In Upheaval is the lady was upset. She's gone mad. What's wrong with her? She's stripping the servants down. She's going through the governess's room. You know, she's going through her things. And the governess is like, what's going on? This brooch. I've lost my brooch. And then all we know is they go to dinner. She's upset. She's angry. They're stealing from me. Who's still? This ungrateful bunch. This is how they repay me. But she's upset, and the governess is upset because she's innocent and feeling violated, but she's feeling guilty because now the madam has gone through all her things, went through her laundry basket, and she found food. She's squirreling food away because she happened to, remember we talked about that, wanting a snack late at night. So she had the habit of that from school, right? You know how y'all do. Yeah, heck yeah, yep, I know, yeah, You go upstairs. I'm like, what is a fork doing under here? What is a spoon doing under here? I got kids too. What are all these? What? Always sneaking food. Boy, I tell you, it's just what adolescents do. That's what we do. I mean, you just have to evolve and be like me and put a little extra small refrigerator in the closet upstairs so you don't have to go down for snacks. You already got them right there. All right, there you go. Right? So we got all that build up about the brooch being missing, and then what do we find? We found the man of the house, because he doesn't want the governess to leave. Remember, she's like a tutor, she's like a nanny, helps with the children. Also, he feels she's relatable, you know. And let's be real, she's a very young lady, fresh out of school, young. Hey, maybe she might have been very pretty to look at too. But he made sure to let her know, don't go. And then, are you going to make me get on my knees and beg you? Why would you do this? Okay, I took it. Yes, it was I. It was like the mask got unveiled like on Scooby-Doo. When the criminal, you know what I'm saying? When the criminal was like, oh, it's Mr. So-and-so from the general store. Right? He was like, yes, I took it. She's usurping all my funds, all my money, etc., etc. This is my father's money and my mother's money, but she's taking it all. She won't let me have any. I need money. Right? A great conclusion because we didn't see it coming. Right? And that was really the end right there. It said a half an hour later, she was on her way. Like, let me out of here. This is drama field. Right? That's probably, and that's the point I didn't think of until just now. She probably is like, no, too much drama. Let me move on and find another situation. All right, there you go. So organization, craft, conventions. Guys, you're doing this on a Word document. Do not, I repeat, do not skip the last step of the writing process to polish your document. Take it through the word check, the spelling and grammar check, right? All these little nitpick mistakes we make, they will be pointed out if you take it through spelling and grammar. Sometimes, maybe you missed putting your period there or your comma in the right place. Use the spell check. It will help you polish up and finish your document. You got to do this. I'm telling you. You got to do this. All right, there we go. So that's option number one. Want to add something, Ms. Gibson?
No, I know a lot of people are going to pick option number 2. That's what I've heard so far.
Okay, all right.
So,
look at Ms. Gibson, knowing what the streets is talking. All
Yeah.
right now. All right. Option number 2. All right.
Word on the street.
Yeah. All right. Option number 2. All right. Take a look at behind the Alluvia. There is the Rich Raider poster. Behind BJ, there's a poster of Lady Macbeth. And next to Ms. Gibson, there's a Black Lives Matter. So we're thinking, when we say poster board, we're thinking something like that size, right? Okay? We're not thinking something like this, where you're going to try to squeeze all this stuff. That's not going to do it. It's not going to work. No, 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 no. All right? So you're doing a regular poster board, okay?
Can you provide us with the poster?
No, 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 no.
18-year-old.
You 12th grader,
I'm
you.
just saying, you know.
Want me to get posters for you? Shame, shame.
Here,
I'm just saying, you
though.
know, times been hard, you know, like, even get to Walmart, that's like $5 gas, that's all I'm saying.
Sheesh, $5 gas to get to Walmart. Where you live?
Out the way.
Wow. Get it on the way home. All right, students will create a large poster board, minimum, I'm just estimating 2 feet by 3 feet. All right, there are 5 ingredients. Number 1, I gotta make a note of that to put that infographic. There's an infographic article that I wanted to put on as an exemplar and I forgot. So I'm gonna before I even leave today, I'm gonna make sure I put that on canvas as your exemplar. It's a beautiful article and it features all of these different types of infographics, all right? Because I want to be clear, and I need to edit this part too still, Ms. Gibson, and that is that data, graphs, statistics, survey results, those are things that are usually on infographics, but you don't have to have every one of those things, okay? Because data can be representative of the graphs, the statistics, the survey results, right? So I'm gonna clear that up, that language a little bit better, all right? But for sure what I want on it, in addition to data, which may come in the form of graphs or statistics, survey results, is a 1-sentence story. What is the issue, right? In 1 sentence. What's the question that beckons? Again, this is about your social issue. This is an ill that you're looking to either poke at in the society or have reformed or completely destroyed and eradicated.
And you already listed that with your top 5 picks for the ones who submitted it.
You did.
You had your top 5
You did. You
choices.
already started your top 5 list. You go back to that. Also on the infographic, a nice one, it should have a beautiful heading, subheadings for different types of information. Also, it should be some links for some social media places to go about your issue and or community groups and or websites.
And this is real. This is not made up. This is a real world issue.
This is a real world issue.
Current.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not talking about how the children in the 1830s were made to go to work in factories like Charles Dickens had to do the shoe polishing work in the factory, and that's how he got acquainted with the poor and working class. No, this is a real issue today. Okay. All right, so in addition to relevant links, you can do a timeline maybe of your issue. Maybe it has a timeline, a chronology, or a step-by-step process, a cycle to it, or its skeletal kind of anatomy or breakdown. All right, these are options. So I'll clear that up to show you what is optional and what are absolute must on the infographic. Okay, now the second thing that you're going to do and put on the on your poster board, separate from your infographic, is you're going to do the problem tree. You're going to take your issue, and here's a good opportunity for you to take your phone out. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to take a picture of the problem tree just in case you forgot. Okay, so here we go.
The problem tree is essentially you've got the problem, which is the trunk, anchored by a series of roots, which are the causes, and then emerging from the problem are a number of consequences, the branches. So that tool allows you to really visually understand how the sort of causes a problem also sort of lead to a series of consequences.
All right, let me go
Let's take
back.
the example of chocolate
I was trying to get that volume right.
problem, a number
Okay. All right, there it is. That's the actual diagram. Okay? So you're going to do a tree. You can physically draw it yourself, or you can make a tree, right, on your computer. Use your graphic design skills. And you have to make sure and differentiate the roots, the trunk, and the branches. The roots are the causes, the trunk is the main problem, and the branches are the consequences. And he's going to explain how they look, okay?
Allows you to really visually understand how the sort of causes a problem also sort of lead to a series of consequences. Well, let's take the example of childhood obesity. It's a growing problem that affects.
So childhood obesity, this would be the trunk.
What you can see are sort of the causes, the roots. For example,
You have to
lack
stop
of public
that so they can
spaces
see.
for
Pause
children
that.
to play in.
Take a picture
Lack
of
of
that, BJ.
access to good quality.
Right there.
Okay, so when you have roots, those roots should stand for something, and you can either draw what the cause is, or you could take a picture that you're going to glue onto your as a cause, or you could write them. Have a root and write this is a problem. Have another root, write what it is. Have another root, write what the cause is. Okay? Y'all got it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Nutritional information, low taxation on products with high sugar content, and all of these causes interact with each other, leading to the trunk, the problem. And then from that trunk emerge a series of branches. And in this instances, the consequences of child.
Same thing on top, except these are the branches. Let me make sure we're still recording here. Okay, good to go. We're still going. All right, very good. All right, so there you go. These are the consequences. He's going to explain.
Lower self-esteem for young people. It also has an impact on health later on in life. For example, you're much more likely to get type 2 diabetes. It also has a collective impact as well in terms of the impact on national healthcare systems. So again, you can see how the roots of the problem feed through all the way to the consequences. And that tool helps you to build a more holistic picture of the challenges in this instance of childhood obesity.
There you go. Okay? So that's your exemplar for doing the problem tree. Okay? That's the idea. All right. All right. Number three. Number three is an art piece that you're going to put on your poster board. That art piece might be something that you make yourself, paint yourself, draw yourself, design yourself, or it could be something that you go back in history and find, right, that is addressing that particular social issue. So I'm going to give you two examples. Also, under the art, you must give a 1 to 2 sentence explanation of what it is. What are we looking at? You know how art is. What are we looking at? So here's a historical example. When we go look at Pablo Picasso, he did a painting called Guernica. Right? Now this painting, just to tell you a little bit about it, it's 11 feet tall and it's 25 feet across. So it's like this whole wall. It's a huge painting, and that's it right there. It's important because it was out of his anti-war sentiment, and it became widely known because of that. And here you research and you'll find all of the things that happened. There was a bombing near his home where he lived. There were other things that happened. And so he was so upset about these things. There's a whole long history about it. But all you have to do is go in, do the research, and produce about a short paragraph. Right? A short paragraph. But this is what we don't want. Please don't. Please don't look at the board. Watch what I'm doing. Oh yeah, let me copy and paste this, and I'm gonna hit Control C and then put it on the paper, Control V. Don't do that, man. You know that's not your language. Read it, digest it, and then simply be confident in your own ability to convey meaning and explain what it is, what we're looking at. Okay, that's your historical example. A self-made example is if you turn around and look at behind Austin, above the front door. Everybody look above the front door. front door. Yeah, whatever, it's only one door anyway, right? So whatever, look at the door. All right, above the door, you'll see, her name was Chrissy. She graduated about 2 years ago, I think. Very nice. She drew that for me. Look at it. Look at how politically charged it is, man. You know what you're looking at? You're looking at a policeman or a security guard. He has a Ku Klux Klan hoodie on and a gun pointed at a black youth. And the little boy is holding out a bag of Skittles. You know who that was, right? Who was the little boy who got killed by the security guard for having Skittles? Y'all don't remember him? God, we forget so fast. Trayvon Martin. Remember, it was the whole thing. That's why all the NBA players, they had the shirts and they had the hoodies. Remember, in honor of him. And notice in her painting, she has the Confederate flag, but right behind it, she has the American flag. Very powerful and very symbolic, right? So that's something you could do as it relates to yourself, your social issue. Okay? All right, those are two examples. One self-made, one historically recognized. Okay? All right, very good. Very good. That's 3 things so far. Number 4, I want you to find a song that speaks to your social issues. Print the song, the title of the artist, and the lyrics, and put them on the poster board. Okay? All right. What I did, just as an example, is I went and did some research because I just learned of this group, Rage Against the Machine, pardon me. And so I just did some history, and this is what you can do. Do some research on your social issue and look under music. And you'll find artists that address the particular social issue that you are passionate about. So I looked here, and it gives you different suggestions about different songs. And then I can go find the song, and then extract those lyrics for that particular song. This is also research, but this is also to show you how the whole idea of art, music, literature, they all play a part in society, and they're just not simply relegated to entertainment and relaxation. They also are sources of motivation, inspiration, and truth-telling. Okay? All right, there you go. That's number 4, right? Last but not least, are additional sources of criticism. Meaning, this is some more research. I want you to go find some books, movies, poems, more art, whatever, and compile a litany, a list of 5 to 7 additional sources of criticism, right? That, again, this is to your issue, right? And offer a 2 to 3 sentence explanation and or summary of each item. Gonna put that on real nice, put that on your poster board, and there you have it. All poster boards should be submitted and handed in when you come to class on Monday, April 29th. That's a week from Monday. Those of you who have extended time have until you can turn yours in Wednesday, May 1st, at the start of your class period. You don't have to run it in here at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can if you want, if you don't want to carry it around. But if you want to just bring it in during class, when you get to class, that's fine too. As long as it's in at the start of class.
So I know
Go
it looks
ahead.
like a lot, but it's something that you're supposed to work on in the class. You're gonna chip away at it. Like, do this one class period, next class period, work on this little part of it. Because I believe it's like 8 days in there. And then some people have more than 8 days. So it's like what he said, how do you eat an elephant? Like one bite at a time. So you chip away at it. So this is not a social gathering, so you don't come in here, get on your cell phone, watch movies or anything like that. You're supposed to be working on the assignment, okay? Little by little, day by day. If you wanna leave your posters in here, feel free to do that, so you don't get jelly and peanut butter and all that on it, because I don't
Right.
like that. It has to
Right.
be aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
Okay, to wrap this real quick, guys, here are the breakdown of percentages, so you'll know where also to put your time. The infographic is most important at 40%. The problem tree comes behind it at 20%, that's 60%. Then you have your art, 10%, your song, 10%, and then the additional sources of social criticism, that's 20%.
And you feel free to grade it yourself. Feel free to grade it yourself according to the rubric. So when I grade it, you can challenge me and say, well, Ms. Gibson, why'd you give me this? Because I have all of this, I should get this. So you can challenge me. Because a lot of times you challenge me and you don't have the facts. Like Greg, right? You don't have the facts. It's because you feel like you're supposed to do this, that, and the other, but you're really missing an element. Okay? So feel free to grade it yourself, and then you can challenge me more intelligently, and I will listen to you.
Yes, indeed. All right, we good? Questions? All right, if they arise, right, email me, because I'll be sitting up with my feet up. I'll be laid up, so I can't be moving around anyway.
And
Right, Ms.
remember-
Gibson may or may not be here because she's working with the kids. EOC
Yeah.
may have extended time.
Yeah.
You know, so we just don't know. So there may not be a source for you to ask questions.
But you'll see me Tuesday.
Tuesday, right? Regular day
You'll
of school
definitely see me
Tuesday.
Tuesday. But remember, it's 25 points off the grade. So if your grade is a 75 and it was late, then your grade is now what?
50,
It's a 50.
right?
It's 25 off your grade.
Right. It's not just, oh, I'm gonna just turn this in late and get a 75. No. All right. I hope we're clear. Again, I hope everybody's good. Questions?
Chipping away.
Right. Chip away. Have a goal every day when you come in during EOC week. Classes are shortened. I'm going to work on this aspect of my project. I'm going to write this much of my short story. Have a goal every day when you come in. Don't waste the time. All right. Hopefully, I will see you by the 29th, but if I'm still jacked up, I will not. I'll be here when I'm well. Okay? All right. Very good. That's major number 3. Let's go ahead and stop the recording.